Hi, I'm Chrissy Jamie, wedding photographer and filmmaker based in Philly, and welcome to my channel where I bring you, my engaged couples, advice, tips, tricks, and what have yous to help you along your wedding planning journey. Hello, hello! Today we are here with Andi, owner of Musa Weddings, queen of planning elevated weddings, and we are going to talk about the first 3 steps to take on your wedding planning journey. So, let's set the scene. You just got engaged, the love of your life put a ring on your finger, and now you're like, where do I start? Let's consult the expert.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so glad.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm so glad to do this with you.
Yeah, me too.
So, what is the first thing you recommend to your clients when they're first starting out in their wedding planning journey?
Ooh, that's a great question. So, I would start with getting everybody on board with the ideas. Just making sure that anybody that has any kind of financial commitment or any kind of say on any part of the planning is on board, specifically the couple. Just be on board on the ideas that you have on what you would like to achieve, what you want from your wedding, so then that way there are no surprises later on. Everybody knows what they're going to be doing and they all agree.
So get everybody on board, everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
So we don't have any surprises. So communication.
Absolutely.
It's very key here.
Yeah, you would be surprised on how many couples just start and they're like, oh, I wanted a backyard wedding, and then the other one's, oh, I was thinking of a ballroom. So having that conversation from the very beginning, it's really important because that will set the tone for everything else that's happening afterwards.
Yeah, especially a ballroom and a backyard.
Very different.
Very different.
Very different.
So you want to make sure that you're on the same page of the concept and all of the things. That way it's a good firm foundation to then build upon.
Yeah,
absolutely. So once you have that communicated, you're like, all right, we want to do ballroom or backyard, whatever one you've decided, and you're like, okay, we have the vision. What do we do now?
Yeah. So talking about budget is the next big thing. What makes you comfortable in spending on your wedding day? So I've had a lot of couples that reach out and they don't know what a good budget for the area where they want to get married at would be, and they're seeking, some sort of guidance to that. Google is not the best place to go for budgeting questions. The best thing to do would be to create a little spreadsheet and then start asking around, reaching out to the vendors that they're liking on Instagram or they've found in any kind of other social media platform. And then that way they can have a better idea and understanding on how much things actually cost in this area, because it can really make or break the whole plan. When couples look for budgets online, they just put average cost for a wedding in the Philadelphia area or near me, and what Google does, it creates this average of different locations within the area, and that can be a wide range, right? That could be someone that just had an elopement and somehow wrote it online, and then it just gets that data from there. And that could be also other people getting a 300 people, wedding in a ballroom with flowers everywhere and all sorts of expenses were not an issue. And so it just gets that average and gives you a random number, which most likely will not fit what you want to achieve. So just making sure that you have some sort of a spreadsheet, start doing your research, reach out to vendors if you don't have a planner that can help you figure out what those numbers would be for the type of event that you want to achieve.
Yeah, definitely. And so you as a planner, how would you then go about helping your couple set out through that budget? So would you be the one emailing the vendors, or just in general, how would you go about that?
Yeah. So in general, we would just have a very in-depth discussion the very first meeting that we have. So when we sit down, they say, okay, Andi, let's work together. We want you as our planner. we do a happy dance, and then we jump into the nitty-gritty of knowing exactly what the couple wants. And then we have the knowledge of how much things cost around this area or wherever they're going to get married, if it's in Spain and Italy, France, you know, wherever their destination will be. We have the knowledge of knowing how much everything that they want to include in that budget would be. There's a lot of things too that couples overlook, or they just simply don't know because they don't get married every weekend. Yes. Hopefully. And so they don't know that those are things that they need to take into consideration. Yeah. So when we jump in, we, you know, it's just kind of like a lot of education. We let them know this is what you can expect for what you want to have at your wedding, for what you want to do, for the location where you want to be at. And so it gives them a pretty good, realistic number of what they can expect to spend.
Yeah. So essentially, having a wedding planner, you cut through the whole having to go emailing all these different vendors because you already know.
Exactly.
Because she's done this so many times.
Absolutely. Yes.
So she's like, okay, these are your wants. I already know this is going to cost this amount. This is going to cost around this amount. Like, yes. And so you can get an estimated budget just already in mind before you even start emailing.
Absolutely. Like, yes. So we actually, it does. And like, we wouldn't email or reach out to any event partners unless we know the couple can afford them, because we've already gone through that conversation. We already know what they want, style they're looking for example, if they're looking for a photographer and we're allowing X amount on the budget, we know we're going to reach out to those photographers that can fit the style that they need, the type of photography that they want to have as a keepsake for the rest of their lives, and specifically the budget that they have to spend. So then we're not just reaching out to everybody. That's how we keep everybody on track and be able to show them things that they can actually afford.
Yes, yeah, that's really key. Sometimes you really don't have, like for me, even like as a photographer in the industry, I'm like, I don't know how much florists are. Like there's so much, like even us as other vendors don't know how much other things are. Yeah. That's why it's like wedding planners, you're the helm of it all. Yeah. So you're the one who's contacting all the different people. So you're like really the center. You're the center of the industry, really. Yeah.
I like to describe it as we're the glue that ties everything together. So even on the wedding day, we are like your pillar, right? Everybody's going to come to us. Nobody else. We're there to tie all your pieces together of that puzzle.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. So to recap the first two. First, we want to set the vision, make sure the communication is on point with everybody involved. And then we're going to talk budgeting. If you're doing it by yourself, you're going to reach out to the different vendors so you get an idea of even what to set your budget at. And then if you're working with a lovely wedding planner, they already know. So they can already help you with that and save you so much time. And then what would you say the third step would be?
The third step would just be to get going, to get doing it, especially if you don't have a venue yet. You want to secure that date as quickly as possible, especially in this area or at a very popular destination. Things get booked very quickly, and you might find a venue that has the date that you wanted and you're great, we're going to secure that. But does that actually leave you enough room to have other options available for the event partners, right? So is that going to be such a popular date that maybe photographers are all booked at that time, musicians are all booked at that time, hair and makeup team are booked? So just think of all the other things that fall, not just the one date that you wanted, not just the one location and venue you wanted, but also all the other pieces. Like how popular is that going to be? Is it going to be easy or harder for me to find those event partners that I'm going to need later on? But the quicker you do that, the better, because that would get you a step ahead, give you more options available, and get like first dip on the best event partners.
Yeah. Especially if you already have event partners in mind. And like, because I know there's, it's always funny to see which dates are popular each year. Yeah. But a lot of it, I feel like it's like, for next year, it'll probably be like the 25th. If a 25th
right, everybody wants that. May 25th, 2025.
Everybody will want that date. So if that falls on Saturday, you already know that's just going to be ridiculously booked. So you, as nice as it is to have that date, if you want,
be flexible.
Just be flexible. Yeah. Exactly. And the sooner you get started, the better. You don't want to dilly-dally. Although you want to have like, after you get engaged, you want to have that time of just like enjoying it, soaking it in. But then like, especially if you have specific vendors in mind that you want,
get moving.
Best to get moving, get started.
Yeah. Yes. And doing it with enough time will give you that option to have your engagement and enjoy it and have a long period where you're just, soaking in all the fun and bliss of being engaged and planning a wedding. It can be really fun, but it can also be really stressful if you leave everything for last minute. Yeah. So if you know you're at a popular date, just get things rolling and moving, booking them one step at a time. And that is something too that we can talk about on like how we handle like the wedding planning process, just because it's a little bit different, for every planner, but the way that we like to do it is step by step. So you're not overwhelmed, and that's usually how we recommend anybody that's getting married, that if they don't have a planner, just try not to do everything all at once, but also not to separate them all so much that you're like, in 6 months I'll book this, and then 6 months later I'll book this, and then last minute I'll book this. So we always take it one thing at a time. So if we are looking for a photographer, for example, we will focus on that. We'll give all the options to our clients. And then once they secure that vendor, we will move on to the next. And we obviously, during our first meeting, we will have a priority conversation. So yes, very important. What are our priorities and how we're going to do this, how we're going to tackle it, what step we're going to take first, next, and so on, to just kind of plan the whole wedding, and then what the next stage would be after everything is booked. So if you don't have a planner, go ahead and just write a little checklist, set your priorities. That's also going to give you a budget, because a budget is just really a list of priorities with a number attached to them.
That's good.
Right? I mean, that's all a budget is, right? So what's most important for you? Food, beverage, musicians, photography. Then you allow a little bit more to those line items, and then start securing them right away. And then the rest can just come little by little.
Okay, and then so you, as the wedding planner, so first you start with having getting everybody on the same page, and then setting your budget, which she can help you cut through real quick because she knows that everything costs. So saves you all that time. And then it's priority, but really just getting going. Getting going can mean setting your priorities, which goes hand in hand with budgeting, really. Right. Because you want to, when you set your budget, you're like, okay, but what's most important in this budget? What are we going to allot the most money to? And then everything just falls in.
Yeah, and just booking everything as quickly as you can, but also one step at a time. It's kind of contradictory, right? So, but it makes sense once you start putting up your list and your priorities and setting everything, setting your task, maybe splitting in between like the couple. Maybe, someone will reach out to this vendor, someone else will reach out to this vendor, and then just always coming together.
Yes.
To make decisions together. Yes. No surprises. And then, just kind of like getting those tasks taken care of.
Yeah, and I like the part of I know a lot of couples tend to split. You handle the DJ and whatever, and I'll handle the photographer and this and that.
Yeah.
But then even as you do that, make sure after you reach out, okay, these are the pricing guides that we have. These are this. So you come back together to make your decisions before even taking the next step. For me, after I sign my pricing guide, you then get a link to a console. And even for the console, I like to have both partners there.
Yeah.
That way, no surprises.
Yeah. It's easier.
So communication is really key. Again, and even you as a wedding planner. So how would you help your couple then especially with pacing and the booking of the different vendors?
Yeah. So again, when we do that very first meeting, we set our budget, we set our priorities, and we send them, it's a Google Drive that we share with our couple where they can see all of the tasks that we have taken care of, what's pending, what's coming up next, so they can see everything that has been achieved and kind of feel, like, okay, we're in a good spot, or no, we're not. And then that way they can kind of, just to feel like they're checking off boxes. But what we do is we say, okay, these, based on the area that you're going to get married at and the date that you have, we will reach out to these vendors first for this one category. We do put them on a spreadsheet side by side. We don't send the couples, here's one email with one photography option, here's another email with another photography option. Next week, we'll send you another one. We wait until everything is completed, all the people that we reach out to, see if they're available, what the pricing would be, what they're offering. We put that in a comparison sheet. So we put that side by side, and that's what we actually send our couples, along with any brochures and any links and anything else that the vendor has given us. That way they can see and compare them both side by side. They can choose and they can tell me, Andi, I don't like any. Then we'll send them a new batch. Usually it's about 3 to 5 vendors on each category that we send our couples. And then if they do like someone from that list, we can schedule a time to chat so we can, just kind of like get to know each other and make sure that they're all a good fit for each other. Then once they say, yes, this is who we want to book for photography, we want to go with Chrissy, let's do it. Then they go ahead, get a signed contract. We help them through that process. We don't sign contracts for anybody, but we do help them review them and make sure that it's all, watching everybody's back and it's all pretty standard. And then once that's taken care of, we go to the next task. So then if it's video, if it's musicians, if it's transportation, whatever that next task is that we've set in that priority list, we will go to that and repeat the process all over again. So if you don't have a planner, create tons of spreadsheets, keep them all organized. Well, actually, it's just one spreadsheet with multiple tabs, better than 10 different files. So just one file with multiple tabs. And just any information that both of the, the couple, family members, anybody that's helping them plan the wedding is receiving can just go in that spreadsheet. That way you stay organized and you can see who you've reached out to, what responses they gave you, who's not available. So put a little list, because then you might forget and reach out again. And so that way you can stay organized and make your planning life a lot easier and more enjoyable.
I like the idea of having everything, all the information come back to one central location, especially if you're having different family members help you out. That having it all come back to this one central location really helps you stay on track of everything, communication, and it just makes everything more seamless. You're not like, hey, Shirley, did you reach out to this person? And it's
all there.
It's all there in one spot. So spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so to recap, the first step would be making sure you are on the same page. That especially if anybody else has financial responsibility outside of you and your partner, you want to make sure they're on the same page as the vision, or even just the same page as what their financial contribution is going to be. And then after that, we go about setting up budgets. That's everybody's favorite part. But it is necessary to even move forward. So you at least have an idea of how much everything costs. If you're doing it by yourself, you'll just be emailing different vendors, getting their pricing guides and everything, so you can even get an estimate, because Google's not reliable. It's not. But what's even more reliable is hiring a wedding planner, because she already knows what everything is going to cost, or at least the estimates of most things. And then once we set that budget, you then want to start booking. Just getting started.
Get going.
And setting priorities of what's most important. So those are the vendors you want to reach out to first, because they are most important. And that's what most of your budget is going to be allotted to, because that's what you care the most about. And so those are the 3 first steps of your wedding planning journey. And then, like I said, if you have a wedding planner, she'll help you through the rest of it. But if you're doing it by yourself, you got this. I believe in you. You do. It's going to be a lot, but you're marrying the love of your life, and that is what's most important. And then, so just getting into a few bonus questions.
All right.
Because while we have you here, might as well just ask a few more for the people. So, what would you say is one common mistake you see your couples making?
Okay. I would say it would be to go to Google and determining their overall budget based on that information that you can find online or any other blog or anything like that. Budgets are so dependent on the priorities of the couples that just going online, they don't know what your priorities are. They don't know if you want to offer a sit-down dinner with Branzino or if you just want to have a buffet, a taco buffet, right? So they're averaging everything in that area, and it's not going to be the most accurate number for your needs. So that's probably one of the most common mistakes. And then just going with that number no matter what, like expecting things will cost that because you saw it online. Like first, just be advised by a professional or do your research meticulously. So reaching out to every part of that wedding, everything, and that way you write everything down and then have that bottom line of like what is actually going to cost you, and being flexible because things change, depends on dates, depends on so many different things that that can change big time. So that's probably the biggest mistake, that just assuming things are going to cost X amount because online you saw that number.
Yeah, it's kind of just like when you read like celebrity news, like
right.
You gotta hold things loosely. It's kind of just like with most things on the internet, you have to hold things loosely.
Yeah.
So it's best to just reach out to the person directly instead of relying on Google, and that will be your best source. Yeah. Like you said, be flexible about whatever number, because like things change, life fluctuates, especially like supply and demand. If somebody's in really high demand, that means they may just raise their prices.
Right.
Versus sometimes maybe in the off season, some vendors may lower their prices. So it's really just dependent on the date, the season, the demand, all those things, all those factors.
And don't go on Pinterest. You can go on Pinterest, just don't go on the rabbit hole of Pinterest where you can expect, what that number that the blog told you that it was going to cost, and then go on Pinterest and be like, and then I want this. And most of those Pinterest photos that we see there are beautiful, but most of them are staged. It's a style shoot, which is when vendors get together and do a photo shoot just to, show off their work, and it's really not realistic when you multiply that times 200 for 200 people. So unless you have the budget for it, but just seek the guidance of a professional to be able to tell you how much it's actually realistically going to cost.
Yeah. Pinterest is great for like inspo.
Yes, basic inspo.
But basic inspo.
Yes.
But not for so much as like actual information.
Yes.
Just for like cute little inspo while you're dreaming.
Yeah.
But awesome. And then, how would you go about assembling a dream vendor team?
So if you don't have a planner, the best way to go about it is by staying organized and reaching out to those people that you have looked up to for a while. Just make sure that you are checking on their reviews on their website, on their social media presence, just how reliable they are, maybe word of mouth, maybe somebody that has worked at another event for one of your family members or friends, reaching out to them first. But just making sure that they can all work as a team is really important. So your planner should be able to tell you, based on their recommendations, they know it's going to be somebody that's reliable, that's actually going to show up on your wedding day and on time. And that is going to be professional in every conversation that you're going to have. that is going to be a team player, that is not somebody that thinks that the event is for them, but they're actually there to serve and work together with others. It's just one big family on that day, not just for the guests there, but also for the team behind the scenes. So, and that includes everyone from servers to the buzzers, with the caterer, to photography, to planner, to musicians. So everybody needs to work together. So easy questions that I'm sure a lot of them can be found online, but an easy question is, how do you work as a team? Yes. What's your philosophy around wedding day? How do you handle the wedding day? What do you do? What do you not do? And then just taking good notes and comparing it to what the other vendors that you're reaching out to are saying. So then that way you can get a sense of their personality and how they are and how they might work on that day. It's really, really important.
Yeah. As well, a lot of vendors are great in general.
Yeah, they are.
But they may not be the best team player.
Yeah.
So it's always good. That's why the consults are also so amazing.
That's crucial, yeah.
To be able to just talk to the person and not just emailing back and forth.
Yeah.
Because you can get a really good sense of who somebody is as a person.
Yeah.
When you're talking. Versus just emailing back and forth. Especially a lot of things can get lost in translation when emailing.
Yeah.
So it's best to just have that talk.
For sure.
And make sure everybody works well together. And it's great having a wedding planner to help you because you already have vendors that you've worked with, so many vendors that you've already worked with.
For sure, yeah.
So you have kind of already a list of, okay, I've worked with this person, I know this person, I know they're reliable, I know they're great. Yeah. And so that must take a lot of stress off the couple. Because you're
for sure, yeah. It's a lot of stress on us because they're relying on us to give that. So it's whatever that vendor is doing, it's technically on us if we're recommending them. And that's why we're very, very picky as to who we have in that list. And not even on our list, because sometimes there are couples that list might not apply to those couples based on their needs, based on their budget, based on what they're looking for, style and whatnot. And so we do branch out obviously from that list all the time, but it is important for us to know who we're recommending and why we would recommend them. So if we haven't worked with them before, do we know somebody that has worked with them before? Do they have good reviews? What are people saying? How do they behave on the phone call? Even just on the email, sometimes we reach out to event partners, and just by the way that they reply to us, or sometimes they don't reply to us until 2 months later, and we're like, you're not, no.
No.
That's a big no-no. That's a red flag. Just a little advice for couples. If somebody's taking too long to reply to you, do not expect anything better on, closer to the wedding day, unless there's obviously a good excuse. They were out of town, they were on a vacation, they had a family, whatever it is, right? But just being reliable, being responsible and professional should be the three, most important things that you should be looking for in a vendor. And obviously being able to, that's a given, right? Being able to deliver the product that you want, that you're looking for, and within your budget. So that would be probably how I would build my dream team. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. Oh, thank you so much. I've literally learned so much just in this conversation. Especially because I'm on the photo side, so I really only see that one aspect of things.
Right.
You interact with other vendors on the wedding day, but all these behind the scenes that you as a wedding planner, you see after countless weddings. You've been doing this for how long?
Almost 7 years. Oh no, I'm sorry, almost 8 years. Oh gosh, 7.5 years. Yeah.
So you've seen a lot.
We've seen a few things. Seen a few things here and there. They're all great things, so it's fun and it's great and it's entertaining. But one more thing too is that if you can't afford a full planner, right? Because they are costly. It's a commodity, right? But it is something that will save you money. And that's a whole other conversation, and why people say that planner can save you money. It's probably not the way that you're thinking, but it's there are other options that you can seek out. So maybe just do one-on-one coaching calls where you have a power hour where people just talk together and advise you on the best things to move forward if you're kind of stuck or you don't even know where to begin. There are ways that a lot of planners can offer to you, even if it's just something virtual, just a quick Zoom call to just talk about where you're at in the planning, what are you feeling stressed about, or you need some vendor recommendations. Just getting that could be, a little bit of a time and money saver for you and your partner. And you don't technically have to book a full service planner if that's not in your budget, although you should be including that in your overall budget from the beginning. But if you didn't, for whatever reason, there are many options out there for you to just have that help.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know for me, I'm like, I definitely want to have a day of coordinator.
Yes.
Like, if I can't afford anything, like, say, depending on where the budgeting is, it's like, okay, can't afford a full wedding planner, but day of coordinator, I suggest everybody, please, because if you don't have a day of coordinator, they're gonna be reaching out to you.
Yeah.
The day of, you're trying to enjoy your wedding day, and everybody's reaching out to you because they're like, if anything goes wrong or people don't know this or that, like your phone is blowing up, but you're trying to enjoy your day. If you have a day of coordinator, that's a no.
That's a big no. And not even on the wedding day, but prior to. Yeah. So like we get involved 3 months before the wedding, and that way, so we still call it day off coordinator because that's how most people know it, but it's technically just a wedding day management package that you would get from us, and you get all of like the checklist, right? What are you missing? Things that we get this 99.9% of the time where couples are like, I didn't even think about this until, or when we send them our questionnaires, like, I don't know, I didn't even think about this. Do we actually need to think about them? Like, yes, these are things that we need to talk about. And just kind of getting organized prior to the wedding, just eliminating a little bit of the back and forth in between the couple and the event partner, because the coordinator will be in between to kind of filter those emails and those calls, and just kind of making sure that everybody is on the same page well ahead of the venue, well ahead of the wedding. So that's definitely at the very minimum what you should be including, just for peace of mind that everything is going to go as you planned.
Yeah, exactly. Because even like I said, the day before your wedding, you're not getting any last minute emails from.
No, there's
absolutely
not. You might get it for your family members, but that's out of our control at that point.
But so having that day of coordinator, but really, like you said, 3 months at a time, and I know most wedding planning companies, especially yours, offers that, and that's really it's really key.
It is.
Please budget for it. You're like, it will save you so much stress that like you will fully just get to enjoy your wedding day knowing that like somebody got
it.
Professional.
Yes, a professional got it. Not the aunt or the cousin.
Yes.
That they should be there to support you and enjoy their day as well with you, and not working. And that's it. Same, like if you have a wedding party, that's not their job. Their job is to make sure that you're drinking water, that you're eating, that your music is playing, that you're having fun, and not there to make sure the chairs got on time. Do they have the right amount of chairs per table? Are my things put out already before everybody gets there? Are the shuttles on time? Like, that's not their job.
No, their job is vibes.
Yes.
Essentially. Your family's job is vibes.
Yeah, they're just there to have a good time.
Yes, exactly. That's why you hire a day of coordinator to actually coordinate.
Exactly.
There have been times where like the point person has been like an aunt, and they don't. It's nice of them to volunteer, but they don't know what a professional would know. They don't know what to look out for, because we've done this so many times that there are things that we just think of automatically or take into account automatically that someone who's only done this maybe once or twice won't take into account. So just hire a professional. It'll save you so much stress.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And your venue coordinator is not your day off coordinator.
Yes.
That's we can have a whole other conversation about this.
I actually just did a video about that.
Yeah.
So if you go to my last video, go back. I'll probably link it at the end of this video. Venue coordinator and a wedding planner, not the same thing. So go back to the video to dive into that whole thing.
Yeah.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this has been so insightful.
Thank you.
And I know all these couples, I know you guys will appreciate this so much. All the insight that you just dropped.
Thank you.
For free. Like, imagine. Guys, just, hire wedding planner, hire her. Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.